Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Patches Metal. It's been way too fucking long since I last filmed anything, but that's because I've been really ill over the last few days. And I guess you could already kind of hear it in my Jeff Hanneman video because I sounded like a complete emotional retard. And of course I was sad to hear the news of Jeff Hanneman, but not so sad to sound like this. Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Patches Metal. See, I was ill there. I was not about to start crying or anything. I was just under the weather. Anyway, on to the episode. Now, I've had some contact with bands from all over the world in the last couple of days. You know, I was sat here being ill, not really able to film anything because my voice was, well, completely gone. I had to actually cancel one of my gigs, which really sucks, and I think I've never cancelled a gig over being ill. I always kind of try to push myself to being there, and it wouldn't matter if my throat would fuck up after that because at least I had done my gig. But this time my throat was already fucked up, so I couldn't even talk normally, let alone do any grunting. So I was kind of just sat here feeling completely helpless and useless, and I checked my inbox on YouTube and then I found this message. And usually a message like that, like with a generic title like check out this band or really cool band or anything like that, it usually sucks. It's usually some kind of pop advertisement or anything like that. I've been on YouTube for several years with another account, and I used to get, well, probably around 5 messages a day with just pop spam or hip hop spam or, well, you get me. But when I opened this one, it was a surprisingly personal message. So I followed the link and I checked it out, and I was, well, quite surprised because it's really good actually. And the funniest thing is, the description said metal from the Middle East, which to me is always kind of like a oh moment. And that's probably really stupid. Actually, it's a fact that it's really stupid that I react to metal from the Middle East in a, oh, let's check that out way, because metal is actually really normal there, at least what I understood from the guy from Pyrocist. I contacted him over Facebook and, you know, I just asked, hey man, what's up? Can you tell me a bit about your band and about, well, metal in the Middle East in general, because to me that's still some kind of I don't really understand which parts of the Middle East accept metal, which parts don't, where do the religious problems start, where do they not really matter. There's bands like Myrath, Orphaned Land, just a whole bunch of bands that start in the Middle East, and there's always a little bit of or at least in most cases there's some controversy around it. But in the case of Pyrocist, it's just a normal, great sounding metal band who happen to be from the Middle East. And the longer I talked with Rahim, who is the guy from Pyrocist, the stupider I started to feel, because I asked questions like, alright, where do the metalheads meet in Dubai? And he was just like, well, at the Metal Cafe, of course, or at the Hard Rock Cafe. And I was like, okay, oh, awesome. You know, where I thought there would be some kind of backstreet party going on somewhere, there's actually, just like any normal country, normal metal pubs. And the one thing he told me that is different there is that even though there are a lot of metal heads, there's not a lot of metal bands there. which is kind of good for them, because that means that whenever a big or bigger band is coming along and playing somewhere close to them, they can just head up to the venue and say like, alright, well, we're in a metal band and we want to be the opening act. And usually they'll just say, alright, because, you know, if you're a good sounding metal band there are not a lot of them. So it's a bit easier to get in contact with the bigger bands. Anyway, enough about the story of the band and on to the music of the band. Here we go. So what I love about the song is that they've put this complete dark feeling throughout the entire track. You know, it's melodic death metal, but the atmosphere almost gives it a sort of black metal feeling. And I really think that with the proper gear and with the proper experience, they can become a really big band. And especially if they're going to be headlining for some bigger bands, I really expect them to at some point, well, explode into a bigger band. Yeah. Anyway, on to the next band of this video, which is gonna be Red Eyes, Obey the Beast. Now, I've known Red Eyes for a pretty long time because their old singer was also the old singer from my old band. But back then, I never really got into them. I appreciated their music and I realized they were a good band, but it wasn't my kind of music. Mostly because, well, it was some sort of kind of old style heavy metal mixture combined with a newer style of metal, which I personally can't really define and I don't really know what to call it, but it's almost like it's a sort of hard rock album punched in the face with metal. But yeah, in those days that wasn't really my kind of thing. But I remember one time when we had a gig together, my new band and Red Eyes with their new singer, and they were sound checking and they started playing Holy Diver, and I was like, oh, cool, Holy Diver, you know, I love the song Holy Diver because I love Dio. But then the vocalist started singing Holy Diver and I was like, holy fucking shit, that's great. He doesn't sound like Dio, but he did it fucking perfectly anyway. So from then I already realized that Red Eyes' singer was very fucking good, but I never really got to know the entire band, and I did also realize that the musicians were good, but I just never got that kind of connection you need to have with a band before you can start calling yourself a fan of it, before you can start really claiming you know their music and you appreciate the music. And then I got a message from their drummer saying, hey man, Patches Metal videos, cool, looks like fun and stuff, would you like me to send you a Red Eyes CD so you can review it? And I was like, alright, you know. I hadn't heard the album, I only knew their live shows. So I was like, cool, you know, send it this way and now I'll see what I can do with it. And then I got it in the mail along with this shirt, and right now as I'm filming this I realize I'm wearing it backwards. So give me a moment. This shirt, and I started playing it, and the connection I just talked about came within the first minute of the song, and within 2.5-3 minutes I just had a complete connection to the music, and just listen to it.
The shock had caused him not to feel. The cries got loud and full. He would not squeal. No more last words could have been said. The lights went off inside her head. She had kept things on the low. So more days that she wanted to. If only time could wait its turn. It had been blinded out. You'll say it wrong. If only you were strong. If only you'd belong. Rainbow on fire. Told the inventor of frequencies all about stereo. Walls, but echoing halls. Tell the invader on all that you feel. It's real. Something on the radio brought to her in video, dozing off to where the rocks and skin collide. Now there's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Still waits inside. Rainbow on fire. Told the inventor of frequencies all about stereo. Thick walls, but echoing halls. Tell the invader on all that you feel. It's real.
I guess Red Eyes is one of those bands that needs some getting used to. You know, you get to know them. At the start, you're like, all right, this is pretty cool, and then at some point it just fucking kicks into your mind how actually awesome it is. And then the moment you get into it, it all becomes sketchy as hell and really fucking enjoyable to listen to at any sort of situation. I think the only issue I would have with this album is that there is not a lot of variation between the songs. Of course they are different songs and different compositions, but in general, the sound and the vibe and everything, it kind of stays the same. And I think the reason for that is that the vocal style is very distinct and it's very typical, and he keeps the same vocal style throughout every song from start to end pretty much. And I think my only advice, or the only thing I would want to see changed, would be to either have more present backing vocals to make the vocal part different, or to have the singer vary more with his voice. Because right now, even though I love the vocals, I really do love the vocals, and they're great, but a bit more variation would be nice. Because right now the only song that actually vocal wise sounds very different on the album is Worn Down, which is something like this. But anyway, it doesn't really matter, because like I said before, the vocals are awesome, I love them, and well, just never mind, go buy their fucking album, go to their Facebook, I will put a link in the description down below, and you just have to check them out. Now, since this video is already 16 minutes long, I'm gonna leave it at this. Please like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more. For the next episode of Patches Metal number 7, I already have a really awesome band in store. They are called 10 Plagues, and I will put a link somewhere so you can already check it out. But the next review will be on them and on another band. If you have a band yourself and you want me to make a review of you, please just send me a message, contact me on Facebook or on YouTube or wherever you want, and we can have a chat. And yeah, and if you are smart like Red Eyes, you also send me your album and your shirt, and I will make sure to make it a very positive video. Now, who am I shitting? You can't buy my love, you have to earn my love. Anyway, concluding the video, just check out the links in the description below. It will be on Pyrocist, the first band, on Red Eyes, the second band, on 10 Plagues, who are going to be in the next video. And I will see you all next time.